All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Leesburg. So, our theme for 2024 is a grand rising, and our focus for the month of January, one last Sunday, is also a grand rising. Our topic for today is feeling good, and it will be given by our wonderful spiritual director, Charlene Banks. We are so glad that you joined us here today. If you have any prayer concerns or celebrations, please feel free to add them to the comments section, and we will be sure to include them later in our service when we do our spiritual mind treatment, which is our form of affirmative prayer. All right, folks, that's kicking things off. Sit back, relax, and enjoy our welcoming video. Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be a service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is. Okay, and now it's time for our meditation. So in honor of the title of our talk today, Feeling Good, I chose the Feel Good meditation. So let's begin. Oh, my goodness. Just settle back into your chair, wherever you are, and relax your shoulders. Maybe move your head a little bit to relax and release any tension that you might be carrying. And take a deep breath in, hold, and release. Let's do that one more time. Breathe in, hold, and release. So like I said, this is the Feel Good meditation. So today we're going to focus on our feeling good emotions. So think of something that makes you happy. Something that just fills your heart with joy. Do you have it? Just let that emotion really sink in. Our memories are so wonderful. We can always go to them and pick out a little jewel of our memory that serves as a jewelry box, a treasure chest. So hang on to that emotion that you feel when you think of that happy someone, that happy something, a happy memory. And just let that sink in. Maybe you're picturing a jewel as you hold that memory in your mind. And then just take that emotion that you're feeling, that wonderful, wonderful feeling of happiness, and drop it somewhere in your body. Maybe somewhere that needs a little attention, a little love. Is it your back, your knees, your ankles, your neck, your shoulders? Just send that wonderful bit of happiness just to that part of your body that needs it the most. Now, generate another memory, another something, someone that just fills you with so much happiness, so much joy. Do you have one? As I recall, who I'm thinking of right now, it just makes me laugh because this someone just brings me so much joy, so much happiness. Just hold that memory. If it helps, picture a beautiful jewel. And then once again, take that wonderful, wonderful feeling that you're holding and just drop it somewhere into your body, somewhere that really needs it. Once again, recall something that makes you so happy, makes a spark light up inside you, or it's that beautiful, precious jewel. But now, as you have that feeling, that joy, that wonder, that awe, instead of dropping it inside of our bodies, let's just take that wonderful emotion and just almost like a beacon, let's just send it out like a lighthouse. Just send it out, 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 out into the world. Just let that love, let that joy, let that wonder, let that all just cover everything, 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 everything that's out into the world. Releasing that positive energy as it just coats the world like the rays of the sun shining down. Well, I hope your treasure chest is filled. You can go in there anytime you need to, pull out a jewel, recall that special memory. It's always available. It's always inside. And whenever you want, you take it, you can send it out. Spread that joy out into the world. So, as we come to the end of the meditation, just take another deep breath in, hold it, and release. And let's enjoy some music.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, It's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Stars, when you shine, you know how I feel. Scent of the pine, you know how I feel. 'Cause freedom is mine, yeah, that is how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. Yeah, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Woo! That was that was amazing. Wow. Okay, so now I have to actually like say words after this. Woo! She just added just something. I mean, if we were in person, right, we'd have been like, sang it, and I'd say one more round. It's a new life. I'm feeling good. All right, let me get it together. So welcome to week 4. That is the last, as you know, we had our Grand Rising. This whole year we'll be doing Grand Rising. And so the kickoff month, as Samara mentioned, is also named a Grand Rising. And we started with a new dawn, a new day, a new life. Those were the last 3 weeks. And of course, this finally culminates with, and I'm feeling good. So we're going to get in there and talk about serving. Wait, what? If I'm feeling good, I got to actually serve? Yes, service is how we make sure we stay on that current of feeling good, because it's not just ourselves that we affect when we're feeling good. We spread that. It's like a vibration, like when we were doing that meditation, how we took that feeling and we just vibrated it out to anyone or anywhere that needs it, because this is how we serve that example of love and light in the world. Now, does the world need a little love and light? I would say yes, absolutely. Yes, it does. And that doesn't mean because we notice that there's a lack, doesn't mean that, oh no, you notice lack. Now that means you're going to experience lack. There are a lot of interpretations of New Thought that say, focus only on good things, only focus on good things, and don't give any attention to the bad things. That's not exactly right. And if we do that, if we try to push down and ignore anything that's not in harmony, then that makes us a bit of a Pollyannish kind of wishful thinking types. No. And it's okay to sit with what is and then get about the work of making sure that we are acting as a blessing. We're serving so that there is less of whatever discomfort is happening. And so that means we're bringing this energy of a grand rising, not just for the month, but into this entire year, because our voices matter. And as a community, as a global community, Centers for Spiritual Living is a global community, and each of our centers are focusing on this theme. Why? Because we have that beautiful book, which I would hold it up if it weren't across the room. We have our beautiful book, our Grand Rising. We're all on the one accord this month and every month. And we're bringing this teaching all across the land. So how does it work? How do we do it? What is this? We're co-creating a world that works for everyone. If you're looking at your book, you know that it says that. I'm co-creating a world. That's the affirmation that works for everyone. And as Reverend Raymond would say, what does that mean? What does that look like? a world that works for everyone? Well, he's not the first person that asked that question. And so I went online to our CSL.org organization. And yes, let me get back into sharing my screen because I took something from their site. Hold on, that's what it, these next few slides, I'm going to walk us through what's online at CSL.org under what we believe. Because a lot of people might be asking, wait a minute, what does a world that works for everybody really look like? Let me take you through it. And I believe this, if we do this at the beginning of every year, we'll probably remind ourselves, oh, yeah, that's what we're working for. So this first thing we see on this slide says, we envision, this is what we believe, a CSL.org global organization. We envision all people, all beings, and all life as expressions of God. Now, before you say, wait a second, if we're accepting everybody, not everybody calls it God. Okay, perfect thought. Change that word to anything that fits within your ideology. So if you don't believe in a God because it carries too much baggage from previous teachings, replace it with divine spirit, divine feminine, the ultimate ground of being, infinite possibility, whatever you call it, as long as you know there is a power beyond what we can see that we all live and move and have our beingness in. And all beings and all life itself is expression of this one, then you're with me and we're together. So on this next thing they say is a bunch of different we see, we envision. Now, what is a world that works for everybody? Well, it's a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with their highest spiritual principle. And this principle emphasizes unity with the divine and connection with each other, a world in which individually and collectively we are all called to a higher state of consciousness and therefore action. Consciousness and action. I'm being drawn to this and I'm acting like it. In fact, each and every one of us was attracted to CSL for one reason or another. We're at this moment in history for a reason, and we're kind of gathering our energy and putting it down into words. What do you see? And as an organization, that's the first one. And we envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life, for we're not separate at all. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. And it's not just the people at CSL. We know this, every human being, everyone is in this global family, not just the people that show up on Sunday at our centers. Well, what else do we envision? Well, we envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience. Personal responsibility joined with social conscience in every area, yes, of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors. What do? Provide sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. It's got a lot of stuff, right? This is it. Now, lest you think, well, what about the people in the not so prosperous countries? We envision a world where each and every person has enough food, a home, and a sense of belonging, a world of peace and harmony, enfranchisement and justice. That's what we envision. And what about how we treat this planet? We envision a world in which resources are valued, cared for, and grown, and where there's generous and continuous sharing of these resources. And what about what they did to others, what they did? We envision a worldwide culture in which forgiveness, whether for errors, injustices, or debts, is the norm. And then finally, we envision a world that has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through the resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics. These things matter, all over the world. They always have, but a resurgence is due. And finally, we envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. That's the world we're talking about. So unless that's really the final piece. And so it's not just a thought of, oh yeah, everybody should just be happy. As an organization, years ago, they sat down, those who did this visioning, and came up with the points of what would that look like. Happy is such a weird, it's so subjective. What would it look like if this world worked for all? That's what it would look like. And so when we think about this coming together, coming out of this global pandemic and everything, we're looking at this vision statement as a call to action. How can we work together to do this? What action steps must we take? And remember, we always start in the mirror. We always start with ourselves. And then as we always talk about here in these meetings, we have that call to sit down and be quiet and listen within. And then we get in touch with how we are uniquely blessed and gifted to bring ourselves into a situation and make that better in whatever way we can. And so that means a couple things. That means we have to get out of our comfort zone if we would like things to be different. I know it's tricky. I was talking with a friend yesterday and we were chatting about, you know how when you want to grow in a certain direction, sometimes it can be scary. And to be afraid of the thing that you must do is part of the hero's journey. To be afraid of it, yet do it anyway. And so this other person's like, well, why does it have to be we're afraid of it? Can't we just step into it like happily? And I'm like, best case scenario, absolutely. But let me tell you something. A lot of the hero's journey starts out with, no, not me, not little old me. I don't have what it takes to fill in the blank. And that call, that charge, that vision is a little bigger. It's right outside of our sphere of what we believe we could do. It always is right outside. Usually something that is going to help the world become a better place. Usually it's not just like, oh, and this is Tuesday and I'll press that button. It's usually not that easy. It's usually something that's a little bigger, that feels a little bit out of our reach, but not so far that we could just dismiss it. There's something just a little bit, and it's scary. So yes, absolutely. There are steps that we get to take individually, and then in our community, steps we could take. Another community member mentioned that she was on her way to a group yesterday morning. She says, she texted me and Tamara, she's on her way to this group. I can't wait to hear how it turns out. We're going to talk with her later. She's on her way to a group of, and when you hear their mission, I don't even know if I can repeat it all. Just imagine a group of people whose answer to the problems at hand is to get more religion and get more dogmatic, and that will fix it. Just imagine any scenario, because the details don't really matter. So their idea is, hey, I have an idea. Let's just get stronger with dogma, and let's make sure that this narrow path is followed strictly so that we could save the world. And I'm like, yikes, is this the first chapter of The Handmaid's Tale? Like, what are we doing? Right? And then I'm like, all right. So when you go in there, God bless you for going in there, because I would be like, woo, I have so much to do at that. I did have stuff to do, but I wouldn't just wander in there. Are you kidding me? I have a delicate constitution when it comes to dogmatic teachings. And I usually have this, let's call it, what's it called? Like a twitch that pushes my hand up and I'm like, excuse me, I have a question. It's not good. So I was thinking it would be good if she does show up, but with questions, no answers. No answers. If these people thought that they needed our answers, they would be coming here. So if we do go across the divide and hang out in a territory that seems completely contrary to what we think and we believe, then hear them out. Listen deeply for what their truth is. Only then can we really feel the compassion that is being called from us in this time. We're called to be in a sense of compassion and understanding, because I feel like if we were to go in there riding on our horse and just trying to tell them to be better, we would not be getting anywhere. In fact, they would probably double down on whatever beliefs they have. We'd be just self-fulfilling their prophecy that, oh, those people are evil. Every time we reach across, we've got to do something that is not expected. And sometimes it's just listen, smile, and be compassionate. In fact, there's no mistake. There's no coincidence, I think. There's never any coincidences. This day, actually, what is it? January 30th, not too far from now. What's today? The 28th? Listen, 2 days from now starts the season for nonviolence. Remember what the season for nonviolence is. If you don't remember, I'll remind you. It starts with the day that Gandhi was assassinated, January 30th, and goes until the day that Martin Luther King was assassinated, April 4th. And those 64 calendar days are meant to focus, in the spiritual communities, we're meant to focus on solving these types of problems with nonviolence, with nonviolent communication, nonviolent language, nonviolence in general. Because anything else shuts down the communication, shuts it down. And we all know how long-lasting Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King's work has remained. We know that based in love and kindness and compassion, we make more progress than if we were to resist and fight and be probably damaging, I want to say, because the eye for an eye just leaves everybody blind kind of situation. So here's what Martin Luther King Jr. said. He says, here's the true meaning and value of compassion and nonviolence. When it helps us to see the so-called enemy's point of view, to hear their questions, and to know their assessment of ourselves. For from his view, we may indeed see the basic weakness of our own condition. And if we are mature, we may learn and grow and profit from the wisdom of the brothers who are called the opposition. We have something to learn and grow from if we just listen to the so-called opposition. Thich Nhat Hanh said the essence of nonviolence is love. Out of love and the willingness to act selflessly, strategies, tactics, and techniques for a nonviolent struggle, well, they arise naturally. Nonviolence is not a dogma, it's simply a process. And really it becomes not buying in, not getting triggered, not letting ourselves be brought into this tug of war where nobody wins and everybody's voices just get louder and louder and escalates. So it's never going to end well. Instead, just doing the opposite, turning that other cheek, that changes things. I think in general, it's the hardest thing to do is turn the other cheek. But I do think that a person who's in the process of being brutal to us, that would be shocking. And they'd stop and say, wait, what? You're not going to? And then I would think, of course, when I'm in it, I don't have these thoughts, but just from the outside looking in, I would also think that once their natural escalation is not met with equal energy, then not only would they be surprised, it would interrupt them, it would interrupt that neuro cascade of emotions and neurons firing. It would also probably reflect back on them and they would probably seem a little silly. Similarly, if somebody's shouting you down and you whisper back, wait, what? That doesn't, you're supposed to meet me at this level of alacrity. So you're not meeting me there. What happened? And then, right? So this could be the reason. I don't know the mechanism behind it, but certainly More progress was made on paths of nonviolence and love than ever were made on escalating disagreements. And Martin Luther King also said, I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war that the bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. It's because that energy is in alignment with the divine principles that keep this planet strung in the. Listen, here's my idea that the divine, the universal truths with a capital T that we talked about last week, they are always love, harmony, peace. Anything unlike it may pop its head in, but simply there is a higher, more powerful force that dissipates that energy. The higher power, what's higher than fear, is love. And that always wins. And I know we get caught up in the moment. Right now, it doesn't seem like love is winning. Let's not fall for that. Let's not let it drag us down. Just knowing there's something higher, something more pure going on, even if it doesn't look to be so right now. That is the trick. And it's not easy to do. I get it. Holding a vision, a higher vision in the midst of something that seems terrible it's not easy to do, but it's definitely worth it in the long run. So we have a whole teaching called For Something and Against Nothing. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but in CSL communities, the idea is to be for something instead of against something. And that the energy of being for example, if you say, all right, let's just pick red and orange. I'm for red, I'm against orange. Like, that's not, just be for the red. And I try not to make everything racial, trying not to use racial examples in everything I can come up with, because I get into a rabbit hole when I do that. But just knowing that, how people like to get out there and protest something. I am against something. I'm so against this thing. It might be more beneficial to come out being for something, for the equal treatment of all people, and to focus on that equal treatment for all people instead of against the separation. You see how it changes the energy? Now, this for something against nothing has to do, it's difficult to practice, and it's based on the how. Like, this is how we're hoping our centers for spiritual living will get up off of our pews. I know we don't have pews, but we get up off of our seats and show up in these communities where where there is demonstration, where people are getting up in arms about it. And we say, let us be for the truth. And what is the truth? We are all created equal. All of us, not accept these other people over here. We want to definitely be for the items I listed on our slides. And what we're being invited to fearlessly live our truth, but we have to start doing it out loud. Like we talked about last year, living out loud. Living our truth out loud. We can no longer remain silent. If we do see something that's going on that is not in alignment with what's highest, and we can't, being silent is like being complicit. So we can raise up and say, are we acting in equality? What are we doing right now? And ask questions that bring the mind toward what we're striving for. That makes us consciously co-create the world that works for everyone, because feeling good is not just for a few. Don't we want everyone to be feeling good? So let's use whatever agency, whatever power, whatever strength we have in our personal lives and share that. Share it. So if we see someone at a cash register, and their checks Are people still writing checks? Well, let's just say they are. Some person of color is writing a check, and then the cash register's asking for 16 forms of ID when the other person right before them wrote a check and it was fine. Let's use our voice and say, let's see, is that equal? Are you treating that equal? Are you treating each person equally? That's just an example that popped in. And then the collective grand rising. This comes about spiritual centers sometimes that are in person typically can feel a little too, I'll use the word vanilla. So across the country, we don't have that issue here because we have a lot of diversity. I love us. But across the country, you may come into a center for spiritual living and you might feel a little bit, I don't see a lot of diversity here. And so this month speaks very specifically to communities where they might attract some people of color, but then not be able to hold on to them because they haven't opened up their minds to be more inclusive. So what does that look like? It means using a lot of different words for genders instead of just the pronouns him, her. They could use they every now and then. Stories that include people of able bodies and people who are not so able, and people neurodiverse. Lots of inclusive speech and different types of music allow everyone to feel welcome. One of the main things that are happening in our community too is that they have kids. People have kids. Yay! Congratulations. Your kid grew up. And now your kid is 18, 20, 25, and they're coming into centers for spiritual living and everybody seems really old. How do they maintain the young people? Well, Next Gen, CSL has a group of young people from age 18 to 35-ish, and they meet all the time, and it's called CSL Next Gen. And so there's pockets, and we're trying to just grow in all areas. We want to appeal to more folks, because I agree, I don't necessarily need for us to be on the level of the mega church that has the 700 club, that has all of the, I don't want to pattern ourselves at some dogmatic teaching, but I do know more folks now than ever are saying that they're spiritual, but not religious. And they don't seem to have any structures to go to, any place to log into and hear a teaching that's not dogmatic. Yes, they do. It's us. And so for us to, I just encourage everybody here, if you have friends or family that you want something, you want to be a part of something, but you don't want it to be oppressive, definitely this teaching, it is what's next. So I just encourage everybody, once you start being here and you sort of incorporate our teachings into your daily lives, people are going to notice something's different about you, and then just share, but not from a sense of recruitment, but just sharing the light, and let it live, let it drop, share your truth, your love, your joy, and let it land where it lands, and let it grow whatever seeds need to grow. And I feel that that is how we slowly and clearly make this a world that works for everyone. And yes, everyone can start that sense of, I'm feeling good. Yeah. And nothing really changed out there, but it's changing in here, and I'm feeling good. All right, let's go into prayer. Let's see if there's any prayer requests. All right, let's go within. In this energy of feeling good, I just anchor myself, just knowing that I am not separate from the divine current of life that is imbued with all the truth, the love, the power, the joy, and the companionship, the abundance that is God. I am flowing in this river of good. I am part of this river of good. And all I need to do is accept it and know that this is mine. And what I know about myself, I also know about each and every one of us here. That we are divine emanations of God, and we are Mother, Father, God incarnate, that we are infinite spirit expressing itself as us. And anything that we would love to have in our lives is available to us to have right now in our lives. There is nothing excluded from us if we can think it If we can vision it, we know that it can be ours simply through the principles that we teach here. Knowing that it is our divine right to enjoy the good and to let our compassion grow when what we're going through isn't so great. And allowing us to connect to each other in a heightened sense of family that is rippling out beyond. And that through this connection, we help each other, we lift each other, we grow through every experience, because every experience is a gift. And so I am so grateful to know that as we live and move and groove through the divine, that it is having its way with us. And so I simply know that this is already happening. It is already unfolding. And I'm so grateful for what shall be overflowing from us as our gifts, as our service to the community and beyond. I simply let my word rest, knowing that it is already so. I let it be. And so it is. Amen. Ashe. All right. And let's hear from Leah.
We shall be known by the company we keep as the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known as the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves back to the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep as the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known as the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that all thrive. It is time we lead ourselves back to the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead as love.
My goodness, my goodness. What a beautiful voice. And thank you so much, Charlene, for the inspirational message today. So now is the time to bless the donations that are shared today. At CSL Leesburg, we believe in the law of circulation. So we are a tithing community. The donations shared with our center bless everyone, those who give and those who receive. So your donation helps our center, our home organization, as well as organizations that support our vision for helping to create a world that works for everyone, like you heard Charlene talk about in her message. Please look at our screen. There are so many ways to give, and odds are you found a way that works for you. So now join me, take that donation, either physically or just mentally, place it over your heart as we bless our gifts. The presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I touch, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness in the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And so it is. All right, folks. Announcements. So you heard Charlene talk about the dream study getting together. I don't know if she specifically mentioned dream study, but I knew what she was talking about when she said she was talking with some friends yesterday. So they had their dream study yesterday, and it meets on alternating Saturdays. So that means that the next time that they get together will be February 11th at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Join Charlene and friends if you can. They talk about their dreams, interpret their dreams, share their dreams, and just have a good time and wonderful, wonderful fellowship. All right, folks, that's all the announcements that we have for today. It is a new year, and we'll be having some new classes and workshops coming up, but we'll let you know as soon as we get that all hammered out. So join me in our closing affirmation. Put your hands over your heart once again. Take a deep breath in because it feels so good. And just join me by saying, I am love.
I am love.
Love. Love that. All right. Now send this message out to someone who's in the room with you. It could be another person, a loved one, a friend. It could be a furry companion. And we also know that we're connected. So it can be just somebody that you know isn't close to you physically, but we're always connected. We can send that message out. So here we go. Send it to somebody who needs it. You are love.
You are love.
Woo, love that. All right, let's put our hands up in the air as we do what we call our love sprinkles. It's all love. Here we go.
It's all love.
Love. Oh, Dan, I could hear your voice come through loud and clear. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us. If you can, please stay. We hang out. We do what we call pearls. We share the little nuggets that really resonated you from the meditation or the music or the message. We just kind of chat, catch up with each other. If you can't stay today, we understand. You might have things you have to do. We send you off with our love.
And leave.
All right, folks, thank you so much. Stay if you can. If not, have a wonderful day. You are blessed.